Hello, I've had a busy week without much time for art, but today I felt like just getting some paints out and having a play. I keep a file in my photo storage called Photos to Paint. I had a look through it and picked out a photo which I'd taken out of a train window whilst going over the Glenfinnan Viaduct in Scotland. Because I was eager just to get using some paint, I decided to do a Splodge and Scribble painting, where I lay down the paint first without any pencil sketch or anything, and then use a pen and pencils later. I'm using an Artway Indigo 100% cotton sketchbook and a Rubens brush which they recently sent me as a gift. I used my really large watercolour palettes for this rather than my travel palette, and I decided I'd like to use some paints which I haven't used very much in the past. I'll link in the description box below the main products which I use, and also a link to the video where I show my large watercolour palette, if you're interested in seeing that. I'm keeping the initial painting part of this session in real time, though I'm editing out when I wash the paintbrush. I just wanted to show how straightforward and basic the painting is. I'm not aiming for anything too precise, I'm just putting paint in roughly the right areas. I'll mention some of the main paint colours that I use because, as I said, they're not ones that I use very often, but I really did enjoy using them today. So for the sky I used Szmal's Cobalt Colin Blue, and that's PB35 and is granulating. And for the purpley background hills I used Rosa Gallery's Violet Black. This is one of their later releases, and it's a mixture of PV19, PBK7 and PR108. For the big dark brown hill, I used Szmal's Iron Chrome Brown, which is an incredibly opaque, intense paint. It's PBR29. For the browny looking hill on the right hand side, I used Rosa Gallery's Golden Brown, which is quite a nice granulating paint, and is a mixture of PY43 and PBR7. And then for the yellowy colour in the foreground, I used Szmal's Goethite. I'm not 100% sure what the bridge colour was, but I think it was Schmincke's Haze Brown. And the shadow in front of the bridge was done using Rosa Gallery's Black Grape, which is PBK7, PV19 and PV3. And now I'm adding some trees using Rosa Gallery's Jade Green, a mixture of PB28, PBK7 and PY42. This is another of their more recent releases. So those were all the main colours that I used. I quite like this initial loose painting. I have the problem though that it doesn't feel finished as it is, but as I carry on with it I feel like I lose some of the looseness. I go on to add fountain pen ink details and then some coloured pencil, but I actually think in this case it might have been best if I'd left out the fountain pen and just used the coloured pencil for a little bit more detail. Anyway, next I add a little bit more definition just with watercolour paint still. I add a little bit of ultramarine blue to the sky and then some sepia to the landscape. I'd also added some of Szmal's Perylene Green Deep to the trees. The Artway Indigo paper stays wet for quite a while and is very workable. I dry it off with a heat tool and then go in with fountain pen. I'm using a Lamy Safari with a medium nib and some platinum carbon black ink, which is waterproof. Again, I'll put links in the description box below. After going back in again with another watercolour layer, I dried that off with a heat tool and then used my set of 24 Derwent drawing pencils to add in lots more detail. I feel like this pencil set is especially suited to this picture because of its muted landscapey colours, but also because of how pigmented and rich the lead is. It means I can use lighter colours to go over the top of darker paint with ease. I just really love going over watercolours with pencils. The paint seems to provide a really satisfying texture to draw over, and as I said, adding lighter colours is easy. Here it is up close, and whilst it's not my favourite finished painting, I really did enjoy doing it and really enjoyed getting to use some paints that I don't use that often. I also really enjoy the Artway Indigo paper. I think it's very good value. I'll also just show you another quick sketch which I did this week. It's of another photo I took of a bluebell wood when I used to live in Cambridgeshire, and it's done in the 12cm Talens Art Creation sketchbook. For this one, I put the tree trunks in first using coloured pencil, and then I went over the top with watercolour for the main areas. I then used Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s, a lilac woody Stabilo pencil, and some Faber-Castell Gelatos. I'd just done this really quickly in bed one evening, but was actually pleasantly surprised at how much I liked it. I think because it was so fast, I kept some of the looseness that I like. I hope you liked seeing what I've been up to this week anyway. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye!